Oh, hello. This is the 7th reading session, and it will be today the 6th chapter. We had one session where we just did a review. Personally, I've been finding reading Genesis to be very, very interesting. It's all the classic things, from the creation of the earth to the creation of Adam and Eve and the original sin and the first murder with Cain and Abel, and then this whole section about how the siblings got created, and the introduction of two, I think, very interesting future entities or characters. Enoch, who walked into heaven, didn't die, and Noah, who was responsible for the repopulation of the earth after the flood. So let's go on now. We'll go on to chapter 6, and you can follow along on the screen, or you can go to King James Bible Online.org. Chapter 6. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh. Yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came onto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. And the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast and creeping things, and the fowl of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. There are generations of Noah. Noah was just a man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with God. And Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And the Lord looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And the Lord said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood. Rooms shall thou make in the ark, shall pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. And the length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, and the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shall thou make in the ark, and in a cubit shall thou finish it above. And the door of the ark shall thou set it in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories thou shalt make it. And behold, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth, to destroy all flesh. Within is the breath of life, from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with these will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. And of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark, and keep them alive with thee, and thou shalt be male and female. The fowls after their kind, and the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing of the earth after his kind. 2 of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Thus Noah did, and according to all that Lord commanded him, so did he. Well, that is quite the chapter, isn't it? So that's chapter 6, which is Noah taking part in the ending of. So let's just skip through it. Let's go back to it, and I'll skip through it. Up in verse 1, it said that man had multiplied on the face of the earth, and so things were cooking along. And in verse 2, the sons of Lord saw the daughters of men. So this is where it gets controversial, where it suggests that the progeny of the Lord started to be attracted to the women of the earth. And I don't know whether these are angels or what, but I'm sure there's lots of discussion and things that can be researched on that. And in verse 3, the Lord said, my spirit shall not always be with man. So what does that mean? It may not be in tune with man, but it gives a lifespan of 120 years, which is almost doable today. A lot of people do live to be 100, and it might be possible to reach 120, which is interesting. But here I find it gets interesting. In verse 4, it talks about giants, and there were giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of the Lord came unto the daughters of men. And again, that reference to the sons of the Lord. To me, that would seem to be very powerful people. And so there seemed to be in verse 7 wickedness taking place on the earth. And in verse 6, the Lord starts to regret, and it starts to really bother him about all of this mess. And then in 7, he says, I'm going to destroy it. I'm going to get rid of everything. Somehow Noah either convinced the Lord, or there was some communication between Noah and the Lord, and it was decided that Noah would build the ark and take his 3 sons, and I mentioned them in the previous chapter, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and those 3 sons are the main lines that are followed down through the Bible. And so those prodigy of those 3 should pop up. So goes on in 11, talking about the corruption and the violence. And in verse 13, this is when the Lord said to Noah, I'm going to end it all, and gave him the instructions in 14 to build the ark. And I don't know what gopher wood is. I'll have to look that up. But he gave him specific instructions on how to build the ark. I'm not sure what a cubit is, but I'm sure I can look that up. But there's 300 cubits was the length, 50 cubits the width, and the height of 30 cubits. It sounds pretty big. It tells them to put a window in it and a door, and basically describes how 2 of everything, 1 male, 1 female, will come to the ark. And then in verse 22, it kind of ends there with so that's it for today, and we'll see you the next session.